Usually when I make these videos, I am feeling fatigued. I'm not doing the greatest. Usually when I talk about my SMA and I update you guys on how I am feeling, I am usually struggling. I'm usually struggling brushing my teeth, feeding myself, operating my phone, taking care of things on the computer. Usually I'm doing not so great. And I wanted to make this video to document because this video is actually I am going to talk about the contrary. I am doing pretty good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not doing the greatest. You know, we can all be doing better than we normally are, right? We can always be doing better than how we currently are feeling and doing today. But I want to talk about this because I am feeling good. I am able to brush my teeth the way I like. I am able to feed myself the way I like. I am able to pick up my cup the way I like, handle things on my phone, take care of things on my computer, things like that. I am able to do the way I like. I am able to do things to my normalcy. And I want to document this and mention this in this video because, again, normally when I talk about and I update you guys on my SMA, usually it's always me talking about how I'm feeling fatigued, how I'm struggling feeding myself and brushing my teeth. And I wanted to talk about this video and kind of post this side of things because whether from my own self-documentation, I think it was good to know and kind of be able to reflect back on and be like, wow, like I actually do remember being in that moment, being in this room, for example. I remember to be in that moment of time. For my own self-documentation, I think it's pretty cool. And two, I think it's really good for anyone who has SMA and for anyone, whether they see it now or down the road, I think would be kind of cool that they can look on and get some kind of value from this video, whoever it may be. But anyhow, I wanted to mention that it has been 9 weeks since my last injection, and I am doing fairly well for myself. I'm not doing the greatest, again. For full transparency, I'm not doing the greatest. Of course, I can't be doing much better. We can all be doing much better, truth be told. But I am doing pretty good. And I wanted to, again, make this video because I don't want it to, every time I update you guys on my SMA, I don't want you guys to be like, oh, or when you guys see the video of me talking about update on my SMA, or I don't know the title of this video just yet, but it's going to be along the lines of update on my SMA. And I want you guys to kind of see, to have the mindset as to how is he really feeling, you know, versus every time he uploads his content, he's not doing the greatest, so I know he's not doing that well. You know what I mean? I hope I was able to explain that well. Anyhow, again, I wanted to document this. It has been 9 weeks. Usually it is around the 3rd month where I start to feel really fatigued. And when I say fatigued, I'm talking about usually it's around the 3rd month where I do start to struggle with feeding myself and brushing my teeth, handling my phone, taking care of things on the computer. Usually I struggle more when it comes to my daily living. Even holding up my neck becomes a really big challenge, especially when I'm eating. Like sometimes I will have to feed myself. When I'm not doing the greatest, I will be feeding myself and then I'll have to like literally chew like this, and then my neck will just get tired, so I'll have to rest it like this. There are moments like that. And usually it is around the 3rd month when I start to feel like that. But the way I am feeling now, I am hoping and staying optimistic that maybe I will start to see a really good increase. Maybe I won't have to experience that this time, you know, because again, I am feeling pretty good. I know it's only 9 weeks in. I know I have a few more weeks to go before I hit that third month mark. But the way I am feeling currently now, I am feeling quite optimistic. And I know I will make another video updating you guys on how I am feeling then and later. But I wanted to talk about this and mention this now. Now, for those of you who don't know what SMA is or what my disability is I have SMA type 2, which is Spinal Muscular Atrophy type 2. And there are 4 different types. Type 1 and 2 are the most severest, and it is a progressive disability. So meaning, as time goes on, my muscles slowly start to deteriorate. To put in perspective is when I was little, around the ages of like 6 and 8, I used to be able to push myself in a manual wheelchair. To me, like nearly 15 years later, I am currently in a powerized wheelchair, and I'm only able to utilize basically my right hand, my dominant hand. I wanted to mention that too because I know not everyone if you're a first-time viewer, you might not know what my disability is. And two, something I want to talk about is how it has been 9 weeks since my last injection. What my injection is to put in perspective, is when I was born, or to give you insight on it, is when I was born, there was absolutely no cure, no treatment for SMA, for my disability at all. I think it was around the year of 2017, don't quote me on this, but I think it was around the year of 2017, around that year, that there was this first ever treatment that was FDA approved, and which is known as Spinraza. And so me getting that phone call, just to put it in context, is me getting the phone call like several years later. I think I was in high school and I received my first phone call. And I'll never forget this. When I was in bed because my power wheelchair was currently in the shop, and I had to miss school this day because my wheelchair was in the shop. It was getting worked on. I can't remember what it was being worked on for, but my wheelchair was in the shop, so I was laying in bed and waiting for my wheelchair to come back. So this day, I had to miss school. Anyhow, all I remember is my mom's phone ringing. She gets a phone call, and I can't remember exactly everything, of course, but what I do remember quite vividly is she got a phone call and she started crying, and she came to the room and she says, "I have to tell you something." And again, don't quote me word for word here, but it's basically along the lines of she had to tell me something, and she told me how there was this treatment that there was this possible, it's not a cure, but if there was this treatment for my disability, and she tried to explain a little bit more as to what she was briefly told. And long story short is I had to go to the hospital and get lab work done to see if I would be a candidate to receive this injection, to receive this treatment, this medication called Spinraza. So that's how that happened. And of course, in that moment, where all the emotions were emotional, we're really happy. It's a really happy moment. So that's how that happened. And I wanted to document. I'm trying to document as much as possible with where I currently am now, just because I think, one, it is going to be good whether I reflect back on this a few months from now, a year from now, a decade from now, even longer. I think to be able to reflect back on this moment and watch this video and be like, wow, I remember that room. Like this is where certain things started. I remember being in that moment. I remember this was happening at that time. For my own personal self-documentation, I think it's quite cool. And two, I think it's really cool too. It's not cool, but I think too, it is really good because there's someone that is going to come across this video or some videos of mine where it's going to be something they really needed at that moment, and it can hold. It's basically going to inspire someone or help someone get through whatever it is that they are going through. So I try to document as much as possible with my own personal life, as much as possible, and with what I am okay sharing with, especially when it comes publicly. So I'm trying to document as much as possible with where I currently am, because again, I think it is going to be cool whether someone comes across this now and is like, I have the same disability, I am not doing the greatest, I am feeling fatigued, but you know what, this kid is right. Like, there are moments where I do feel better. So the way how I am feeling now, I know it isn't permanent. There is a chance, there is a possibility that how I am feeling now, how I am struggling now, there is hope that I will get better, that my strength will improve. And I think that's important too, and I think that, to me, that's quite huge. Because again, when you upload content, especially when it comes to the world to see or anybody to see, I think it's really cool how it has the ability to really impact someone's life in a really big way. You never really know. A big way or small way, you never really know who may need to come across your content or come across what you have to say and in that moment of time. You know what I mean? Anyhow, I hope this video was able to bring some form of value to you. As I continue to make these videos and continue to grow, finding different ways to improve my communication skills. And if you are familiar with my content, you know how I have these lights in the background kind of changing. I'm testing different things out to see what I like. And also too, if you are familiar with my content, you know I barely started using background music. Let me know if you like that. I am still looking for a different background music that I can kind of add, and that I think will go good with my content. So I'm currently testing out different things, trying to see what works, or not what works, but I'm trying to test out different things to see how my audience reacts to small changes. Anyhow, I love you, I appreciate you, and remember, grow through what you go through. Much love.